Hello, Charlene. How are you?
Hi, Anke. I'm great, thanks.
Good. Hey, thank you so much for coming to our conversation here. And I'm really honored and just so happy to be able to introduce you to the rest of the Team Forward and Up team. So, team members, this is Charlene Fike, who is our grand poobah of Shaklee, that I like to say. So I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit and share a little bit more about herself. So Charlene, what got you interested in network marketing and specifically in Shaklee as you got started?
Sure. So I came in through product use like a lot of people did when I was a senior in college back in 1980, 81. And during that time, I had some health issues that I didn't really know about, but my now husband's family had grown up in Shaklee. And so he really put me to the test and said, try the products, which I did. I did not expect to get any health results. So I did it and took a 30-day challenge. And in that challenge, I felt so much better that my roommates started noticing that I wasn't grinchy. And then they'd say, get me some stuff. And so I started getting stuff for people, not knowing that I was actually selling. And I think that what happened is that I realized, oh my gosh, this isn't hard. I do this all the time. I like something, I tell people about it. And for the first time, I got a little check. So that kind of intrigued me, but nobody ever talked to me about doing this as a profession. What happened was I was in last year of school and realized I made a huge mistake in my major and I hated it. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I actually read our compensation plan. And when I saw it, the light bulb went off. And it had to have been God, I guess, because I don't know. But I read it and it made sense to me. And what I saw was that if I could help a lot of people feel better, I could earn a little extra income. And so that's kind of how it got started. So I kind of put a challenge to myself. What would it look like if I carved out some time? And by the time I graduated, so I started in January of the year I graduated in 81. And then if I carved out some time, what would it look like? And so by the time we graduated, I was making enough income. I never had to go get a job. And that's kind of how it started. And then I realized that if I could get better about finding people that I could teach them how to teach others, that's where the real beauty of network marketing was, and that it was a win-win for everybody, because either I was showing people about the product or I was introducing them to a better life that way, or if they really wanted to get some extra income, whether it was a small amount or like me, do it where you're wanting this to be more career income, it gave me that flexibility. And so I've never looked back. This is what we do for our finances, but it's not what we do full time. It's just a vehicle for us to do the passions that are important to us. So I don't have to compromise what I'm doing, but I can make a full-time income.
Wonderful. Well, what's unique about Shaklee? Why did you choose them? Because there are a lot of other companies out there that follow this business model.
Yeah. And, one of the interesting things about this industry is that, I really am good at it and am at the top of our profession. So I get recruited by other people saying, you could make so much more if you'd come over to my ground floor opportunity. And I would no more want to leave Shaklee than anything. And that's because of one thing, is that for one, Shaklee has a proven track record of over 6 decades of scientific research, and they go. And a lot of other companies that have come into the network marketing space, they came at it from 2 different angles. And so what Shaklee did is they realized that it was the best vehicle back in 1956 as a means of getting the message out, which was health. And health for our planet, which nobody was talking about in those days. So it needed a new form of distribution, which Dr. Shaklee went with network marketing right in its infancy. At the same time, there were other companies that are legacy network marketing companies that also started, but they did it from a different way. And they came at it saying, what would it look like? Sorry, I live in Washington, D.C., if you hear some sirens.
Okay.
It's not somebody coming to my house.
I was wondering if that was my house.
Oh, sorry about that. But so what they do is they come at it from a different way. They look at it and go, what could we sell because we like the distribution model? So Shaklee's philosophy has always been the health of our planet, the health of our home, better education. So we're not the slickest marketing group out there, but we really walk our talk and that the products do what they say they're going to do. So I've been with Shaklee for over 3 decades and have been a master coordinator, which is the top of our field, for 26 solid years in a row, consecutively. I would never go anywhere else simply because they walk their talk, and I'm never going to hurt my friends. And so I never have to sleep overnight going, is my paycheck going to be there? I don't have to sit there and think about, am I harming anybody by these products because we're not telling the truth? Everything we do is documented, and I love that. Right. And so I just chose to align myself with a company that's values match mine, which is a high level of integrity and results. And so what I want is an equal distribution system also, where there are other network marketing companies that are out there where they promise a lot of income down the road. And what Shaklee does is they equally distribute based on your efforts. So when you're getting started, you're well compensated for the contribution that you're bringing, instead of leaving you to hope for it to happen at the end game. And so I like that about our philosophy too. So everything just met my husband and I's values, and it dovetails beautifully. So I would never want to go anywhere else.
Okay, super. Thank you. That's really important, because there are so many companies out there. And I know when people start looking into this business model that I, for one, encourage them to look at a couple of others just to kind of see, you know, to make sure that they're in the right place.
Yeah,
so,
perfect.
So for somebody who is just starting, or who might be considering a Shaklee business as an entrepreneur, most of the people here are either already started, or they are just getting started, or they're in that phase of thinking about it. What advice, or what would you say to them as far as them getting started?
I think the easiest thing when you're getting started is to overthink it. And this is a really simple business. It's not complicated. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it is simple. Yeah. And so what ends up happening is that we tend to overcomplicate it. So my advice to you would be, the problem is that it's kind of like riding a bike, where you just have to get on it, and you have to wobble a little bit and know that someone's on the side helping you until you kind of get going, and you don't need either training wheels, or you don't need someone helping steady you. And that's the beauty of this industry, is that there's everybody is there. Myself, Dan, who is I'm like the great grandmother, Dan Felton Petrie, which you'll meet. He's like your grandfather. And then you've got, there's lots of people in this family system that are there to help you as you're learning how to ride a bike. The problem comes is that we're adults. And so we don't want to look foolish. We don't want to fall down. We don't want to pick ourselves back up again. And that's when we overthink it. So my advice to you would be, trust the people that are on your team. They're there for a reason, to help you. And just because you were good in one industry, you just have to go through a learning curve in this industry. And there's no other way to do it than to just push the bike, wobble a little bit. We're here to help you, and you can get going. And then soon you're going to be pedaling and teaching other people. You're going to be riding. You're going to be the one walking alongside somebody else while they're learning. But don't overthink it. Get into action. Follow the plan that's outlined here, and you'll be fine.
That's fantastic, Charlene. Super. Anything else that you want to add before we go? Because I think this was a great way to kind of certainly introduce yourself, which is what I want people to be able to do, so that when they do meet you in person, they already know a little bit more about you. And so that they have a little bit of insight coming from somebody who has walked the walk and understands the highs and the lows of this business, and has looked at it from the perspective of a full-time entrepreneurial career. So anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I would say this is going to sound a little wonky maybe to some of you, but I would suggest that you have a passion that fuels you outside of Shaklee. Because what the beautiful thing about this business is that because we start learning how to build asset income, it does actually grow. And if you build it properly, the way we're teaching you how to build it, you're going to have a base that will follow you. Like, I have customers that have been buying for 30 odd years. Month in, month out, maybe every other month, but I don't have to harangue them because our products work. And
Right.
so what happens is that in the beginning, you're putting in a lot of mental effort to start learning how to do this business and some hours as well. But that's not forever. And so as you build your base and as you start building your business, there has to be something that fuels you, because there's not enough in this business to
Mm-hmm.
do a 50-hour work week. So
Mm-hmm.
I encourage people to start dreaming about some passion project or something that they would want to do with flexibility of time and money resources, and that make that part of your why, so that when you're sacrificing and when you are actually in the building phase, it's the fuel that keeps you going. Like, so for me, when I got started, I knew that when we had a family, we really wanted to teach our children how to be global citizens. So for us, we homeschooled them, but it was really world school, where we would take 6 weeks in Portugal, showing them Western expansion. And the
Right.
reason that I did that was because early on, it was one of my goals. It was like, why wouldn't I want to have the freedom and the flexibility? Because I have cash and I have time. So why not fuel it with passions? And for us, I've been involved in networking women across cultures, because I have the flexibility of the income that I don't have to worry about it. So I have passions and interests outside of Shaklee, and that's the fuel that keeps me going. So I would encourage you to dream big about what's possible. What passion project would you have? Who would you want to help? What kind of income do you want? The sky's the limit, but you get started and you can get to that. But have that vision in mind so that you know what that is, because Shaklee will not be the be all and end all. And if you get that, you're going to have an amazing career.
Fantastic, Charlene. I think that's great. So super, and that's a great segue into what we're probably going to be talking about in our next video, or our next action steps, which is all about finding your why, finding your passion, finding your vision. So that's a wonderful way for us to end here.
It's
So
perfect.
thank you so much, Charlene. And I really, really appreciate your time. And I am so looking forward to having you meet whoever
Yeah,
is listening to this video.
I love
Thanks,
it too.
everyone.
See you at conference.
Bye-bye.